Hi friends, this is Audi1 and you're watching part 16 of the sqli lab series. Today we are going to discuss the injection in form of cookies. Before we start, a quick note. Lesson number 20, 21, 22, 23 have been recently added up and pushed to GitHub. You can just download the package as a new zip, extract it on your machine, and you're good to go. Or you can just download the difference files and just place them on your folder and play with them. So let's start. For the cookie based injection, I would be using lesson number 20 and 21 for this video. So before we start, as usual, we have to understand the flow of the program. So let's just give it a valid input. I have already connected to the MySQL backend and just dumped the info for us. Let's log in as user dump, and the password for the user is again dump. Let's submit it. We get some info on the screen. It says your user agent is something, your IP address is again something, your cookie is dump, and it gives us uname equals something. Well, we can quickly fire up Firebug. We can also use tamper data. We can also use an interceptor proxy for this. I'll be using Firebug for this module. Let's press F12 to open up, and let me just clear up some old cookies. So for this lesson number 20, we have uname as the cookie and value as dump. Let's delete this cookie. Let's put in username admin and just try to put in a wrong password or something, and it says login failed. Let's put in admin and password as admin. So this time we are logged in as admin, ID number 8. And if we just check the Firebug, the cookie here is admin. So let's start fuzzing it. For the sake of this exercise, I am not going to fuzz the username and the password parameter, but in general you should. Let's edit this and let's provide an escape character for the SQL server, and let's refresh the page, and there you go. We straight away have an error in our SQL query. So that means if we try to go back and recap the earlier videos, well, if we see that we have a database driven website, the website is interacting with the web page, and when we provide a valid information, a valid username and a password combination, it's dumping something on the screen. So there are some columns being dumped or shown on the screen. We also have error, the MySQL errors. So we can use this to build up our query. So technically, if we say this is another form of error based SQL injection. As we see the error, we injected a slash, admin slash, to be honest enough, and we have this info dumped. That means that the developer is using a single quotes in his query. Let's validate it. Let's just edit the query, edit the cookie value here, let's say we use a single quotes, or 1 equals 1, and let's comment out the rest of the query using a comment. Let's refresh this, and there you go, we fixed the query. Following the same logic that we followed in the previous videos, that we have to know the left side, we have to know the right side, and we can inject anything in between. So let's not waste time and just straight away do a query to find out the number of columns. Although you guys would be knowing by now that the database is having just 3 columns, so let's do order by 4 just to be double sure of, and let's refresh it, and we get an unknown column 4. Let's do adjust this to 3, and let's redo it, and it works. That means our database is displaying 3 columns, or rather than saying displaying, the web application is requesting 3 columns from the database. Irrespective of how many columns are there in the database table, our application is requesting 3 columns. So let's edit this and say union select 1, 2, 3, and let's see it on the screen. Well, we did not expect this. What is the problem? Can anyone guess? Well, the simple problem is we have to invalidate the first part. So we invalidated, and now it should work. So we see column number 2, column number 3, and 1 on screen. Let's go further, and let's say let's dump the database, and let's dump the version of MySQL. And we have the database and the version. Well, you can continue this further using the information schema and dumping all the information for your practice. I'll quickly move ahead to lesson number 21. Before moving further, I'll clear the cookie just to be clean during the video. So lesson number 21 also looks almost the same. Let's put in the username admin. This time what we see, that we have the cookie uname being set, but the value is not admin. The value is something else, something cryptic. Let's delete this cookie and log in as dump. So again the same thing, the value changes. Let's copy this value for this cookie, delete it, log in as admin. Let's edit this. If you see, we are logged in as admin, but we replace the cookie of dump through it. Let's refresh the page, and we are logged in as dump. What does this mean? Well, if we have active cookies or valid cookies, let's say, and we are able to just replace the cookies or get hold of the cookies, we are able to hijack the sessions. But that is not the objective of the video. We are trying to understand the behavioral flow of the application. so as to do an injection. So as we see that the cookie being generated is not dynamic or is not random, it remains same for the specific user. And we see these two equal to signs that shows us or indicates that this is a kind of an encoding rather than being some encryption. Let's take this value, let's open up Google and type in base 64 decode or decoder. Let's put our cookie value here and let's say decode it for us. Let's see what is there. And we have the value dump. Let's try something intelligent here. We have a user called Superman. So let's copy this and let's open up a new tab, and let's, rather than saying decode, let's say encode. And let's encode this value to make a cookie out of it. And we get some value. Let's copy this, take it back to our browser, edit the cookie. Let's minimize this and just replace the cookie and just refresh the page, and we are logged in as Superman. That means that when we log in correctly, providing a normal username and a password field, the application is generating a cookie. Rather than sending you the cookie as clear text, the username, it's trying to encode it with a base 64 encoder and sending it to your machine. When it goes back, or when we are refreshing the page, it goes back, and while going back, the application is decoding and extracting the information and using that to build up some query here, which you see here, that username is Superman, password is genius, his ID is 6. So to inject here, we need to do the injection and encode it and send it across to make it work. Well, to prove my point, let's do some injections here directly. And let's put some injection characters, single quotes. Let's put single quotes, we put double quotes, let's put some hyphen, let's put some exclamation, let's put some hashes, and let's say OK. And let's refresh the page. It's taking some time. So it did not work for us. It just says bug off you silly dumb hacker, and nothing works. Now let's go back to our encoder and let's try to use the encoded form. Okay, let's use just a slash, encode it. This is the encoded value. Let's inject that in. Let me close this. Let's go back. Let's open up our Firebug, edit value, replace the value, OK, refresh it, and we have the error. So that means what we were anticipating on how the application is working, we figured it out. So let's quickly do a basic injection here. We know that all those are almost the same. Let's first see how the developer has put the query. So in this one, it's using a single quotes and a parenthesis. So let's use a single quotes, a parenthesis to escape, then say union select one comma, let's say database comma current underscore user, and let's comment out the rest of the query. We encode it. This is what the encoding becomes, and let's go back to the page, edit the query, and let's see, and there we go. We have the login name as security and password as root at localhost. I hope you understood the logic of the injections. So the most important aspect for the injection to work is the enumeration part, where we enumerate and try to build up the query. Remaining, you can try to just encode other queries, try to play with those kind of queries and dump the information. This would be all for now in this video. As usual, I would request you to leave feedbacks. Those feedbacks help me motivate and improve on the videos. Thank you very much, and bye for now.